through an exclusive interview. ASOT, A State of Trance.
Hey, what's up and welcome to New 10 Questions. And this week I have a very special guest, one of my legends. I remember buying old school vinyls. Oh, I have one over there. It's called Solar Coaster. He just released his new album, Island. Welcome, Solarstone. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
So I have 10 questions for you, submitted in by our fans through Instagram. So let's just start off.
Okay.
Johnny Ruivo wants to know, is Uplifting Trance back?
Back from where?
Back from where? I don't know.
No, I mean, it's never been away, man. There's room for all kinds of trance, right?
Yeah.
Uplifting Trance, is it back? Yes.
It is. But for example, on Pure Trance, well, you have Pure Progressive as well.
We've got 3 labels.
Do you feel that in the last couple of months, because there's no clubs and there is no parties going on, do you also see that music is changing a little bit? The demos that you get in?
No, most of them are still shit. I don't know, man. I mean, there's so many demos. Like we were talking about it earlier, weren't we? The amount of demos we get. I get, you know, about 50 promos each day and probably a dozen demos. I don't know. It hasn't really changed for me.
Do you decide yourself, by yourself, which tunes are going to be released on your labels?
Yeah. Or sometimes I send tracks to Paula and I say, what do you think of this one? But yeah, it's normally an instant thing, isn't it?
Like when it grabs you straight away.
I used to do a bit more of like development back in the older days when it was more difficult to make music and you knew that some people had ideas but they didn't necessarily have the production skills, and sometimes I would work, but now there's so much more. It's really a case of taking tracks that are ready to go.
So in the past you would remaster tunes or you would add some flavors or whatnot?
No, I would, if I got a demo through that was, still needed a lot of work, but it was clear to me that the artist had the melodic skills and stuff, and they had the ideas, but they didn't actually have the engineering skills to complete the job, I'd get involved. But the turnover is so much greater now, and like I said, there's so many more tools available to producers that if you get sent 2 tracks, one of them is a good idea, but it's not really executed that well, and then the other one is a good idea that has been executed quite well.
Yeah,
I tend to go with the second one.
Yeah,
and just say to the person who sent the first one, you need to work a bit on learning your craft, or pay an engineer to engineer it.
Yeah, or master it in the right way. That's the way to do it.
You can't polish a turd.
That's true. Trancyclopedia wants to know, pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Especially with jalapenos.
Really? I haven't tried that yet.
Yeah, pineapple on pizza with jalapenos is a good one.
The sweetness of the pineapple and the bite of the jalapenos.
Yeah.
I have to try that one. I'm happy that I found someone else that loves pineapple on pizza. So thank you for that, Rich. What is your favorite thing about the island? Glenn MC Master 4 wants to know.
Which island?
The Ibiza.
My favorite thing. Is probably the restaurant Sacapea.
Yeah. Why?
It's this amazing, beautiful restaurant. It's an old church, I think, or an old chapel or something. But they do this amazing dish where they bring a hot plate with slices of, I think it's ox, and then you cook them yourself with lots, and it's on like a hot salt plate, and the taste of it with the salt is amazing. I took my son there a couple of years ago, and he really loved that. That's my favourite thing.
Where is that? On Ibiza?
That's a good question. I'm not very good with geography.
Okay.
It's near the apartment we used to rent.
That helps a lot. Thank you very much. Like everybody knows where your apartment was. I guess not. You have to Google it, I guess. Fadi in Silhouette wants to know, what happened to the Pure Energy project? Do you have any upcoming releases planned? Well, beside the remix that you played on the show this week, which was out of the hat and out of nowhere.
No, there's nothing planned.
No, nothing planned.
I'm doing my own thing. Giuseppe's doing his own thing.
And you're both doing that in a great way.
Yeah.
OC Geek 99 wants to know who's going to mix the next Pure Trance compilation.
That is information that I cannot disclose
Classified
at this time.
Okay, that's classified information. That's not going to help a lot, I guess.
Sorry, man.
Nadine3_7 wants to know, It's a good one. What is the definition of pure trance to you? Because that's quite a hot topic. What is trance? This is not trance.
Pure trance is about the feeling. It's about the. It's a the word pure trance doesn't just describe a musical sound. It describes the whole.
It's not 138.
It's no. It's the whole. It's the whole lifestyle and the feeling it gives you, and I think the lifestyle is the best word to use to describe.
And what is that lifestyle?
It's the way the music makes you feel and the way you live your life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the joy and the whole peace, unity, love and respect thing. It doesn't matter about I mean, technically, for me, in terms of the music, it's music which is. It's just about trance, the pure kind of. It's hard to explain without hearing it. People who know what it is know what it is.
It's the chords that make your spine tingle and the arms rise on your arm, the hairs on your arm.
Yeah, the journey
Goosebumps.
It takes you on, and it's not being preoccupied with like mixing elements of other genres. And these days, it's not quite so. What's the best way to describe? When I started Pure Trance, the reason I did it was because there wasn't any, or not much anyway. Other genres were becoming. They were much more aggressive and less melodic, and it all became about the impact on the big sound system and the attitude and all this other stuff. Whereas for me, the essence of trance music was about the eyes closed, the melody, the sense of inclusion and the family aspect of it, and the fact that we're all here together and we all love each other and everyone's hugging each other and that kind of thing. And it kind of that had gone, and I kind of wanted to return to the innocence of that.
Is that why the first question of today was by Johnny? Is Uplifting Trance back? Do you feel, maybe not, before COVID, obviously, you saw that there were more smaller, intimate events, but also, for example, if I bring up Dream State, for example, or A State of Trance event, it has like a lot of real fans again, instead of just people that just walked in by accident.
So is Uplifting Trance back is kind of like is a very open question.
Yeah,
it's what it's saying is the sense of Uplifting Trance is kind of like one of the whipping boys of the music scene. You know, a lot of people think it's kind of cheesy or it's music for kids. You know, because it's so undeniably optimistic, and there's no sense of ego or anything with that kind of music and the people who listen to it.
No.
But whether it went away or not, I don't think so. I mean, I've noticed that some DJs, like say Brian Carney, for example, he's returned to his kind of uplifting trance sound on that remix.
The Scott Project one. Yeah.
Scott Project one, and he went down this really hard, aggressive road for a while. And I think the same could be said for John O'Callaghan and some other artists. And that new Will Atkinson one.
So good, man.
That's got a really sort of joyful feeling to it. It's very uplifting.
So it's more uplifting. The uplifting feeling is back, not necessarily that's what it is, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, next question. Akshay25292 wants to know, who's your all-time favorite DJ?
Arcadia.
Yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
Because he's so diverse, right?
He's a DJ's DJ, man. He knows what to play, when to play it. He has this connection with the crowd. He's just like he's the epitome of what a DJ is, and it's always a pleasure to play with him at an event before or after.
Yeah.
And he totally understands the music, and he knows all about the scene. He knows about the history of the music. You name any track, and he can tell you the history of that track and all the tracks around it. He's just to me, he is the guy.
The DJ's DJ. I remember when I saw him play last time, every tune that he played, I was like, I need to go up to his DJ and see what it is. I guess that's what you mean as well. Yeah. Like he plays these jams, you're like, wow.
And also when he mixes,
that before.
It's like, a lot of DJs are obsessed with like key mixing and harmony mixing and stuff. And for Tapio, what record he plays next, it's all about the vibe of that record and what impact it's having on the floor. He reads the floor. He can read the floor and he knows what people want to hear, and he senses it, and he just take you on a journey every time. It comes so naturally to him.
Arcadia.
Yeah,
I think that's a good one, 100%. Tom Evans 96 wants to know, do you have a pre-show ritual?
I always
Yeah, here comes the monkey out of the sleeve.
I always empty my bowels.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's it. Before you go on, that's what you do.
You know, it depends how much time you've got before, when you get there, right?
Yeah.
I think with the state of the world now, I think I'd probably pray, thank you God for allowing me to be here.
Yeah.
At the beginning of a show, if there was a show.
I had the same talk with Ferry a few weeks ago when we did the show. He was like, I'm not missing the traveling, I'm not missing the hotel rooms, but I miss the adventure of having a dinner with friends, with DJs, getting excited for the gig.
Yeah.
That's one of those things, I guess. That's normally a pre-show ritual, like you have a certain meal or certain things that you do beforehand.
I think if it was Marcus Schultz answering this question, he'd say, I always do some press-ups.
Yeah? Esteban is the same. Just to get himself pumped up, he just do some push-ups.
He says it's because the girls like to see his muscles.
I love that one. The next question is AON1453. I hope I pronounced it in the right way and didn't slaughter it. What brought you to trance music? Well, you were one of the people that invented it, so.
When I was young, I was a body piercer.
Mm-hmm.
And my body piercing studio was in a building along with a gay brothel.
Yeah.
And I made friends with the guys there. And I was in an indie band at the time. And I made friends with the guys there, and they started taking me out to clubs.
Okay.
To gay clubs where they played like proto trance, and I just loved the incessant repetitive beats and the bass lines and the melodies and stuff. And really early trance, we're talking like
this is like 95, 96 or even earlier.
I guess it's around about that time.
Uh-huh.
And that's how I discovered it, gay clubs. And then I realised that was the kind of music I wanted to make. And so when my band split up, that was what I did.
What did you play in the band?
Keyboards and backing vocals.
There's the vocal part. I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but when I listened to The Island, I heard your voice on a couple of records, right?
I don't know. Did I do any vocals on the Island album?
No? Well, then I'm wrong.
I think that you talking about When I Dream?
Yeah.
That was Momus. That was a sample from a track from God knows how many years ago by an artist called Momus.
Really sounded like you.
Yeah, it does sound a bit like me. When I Dream.
There you go. You could have done it yourself.
Yeah, but I do normally do a vocal track on each album. But that's the one I didn't do a vocal track on, actually.
Are you writing any vocals at the moment?
I'm always writing something.
Okay, here we go. Here's the reverb. Take it away. No?
Baby, I feel right. The music feels beautiful.
I'll take that. Thanks too much. Last question already. Last question already, then you're done. Penelope C. Gibbs wants to know, what was your main inspiration to start producing?
Inability to do anything else.
Well, I guess you went to these clubs and then you heard certain records.
I started producing before that. In my school in Wales, our music department consisted of one keyboard, a DX100, and a little Boss drum machine. And I was listening to like acid house and stuff on the radio, and I heard the music and realised that might be something I could do. And so I would spend my time just playing this keyboard with a 4-track tape recorder and a drum machine and messing around with ideas. My artist name was One Tiny Orange.
One Tiny Orange?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
There must be a good story behind that.
One Tiny Orange?
Yeah.
It's just pretentious teenage. I was lonely.
Yeah.
I'm just one tiny orange.
You were orange.
Yeah.
Like Trump.
Yeah. And then it kind of just went from there to, my great aunt Winifred died, leaving me £1,000 in a will. And I used that to buy my first proper keyboard, which is a Korg M1. And then formed the band, and it went from there.
Do you still have that one? The Korg?
No, I don't have that anymore. Shit, but I've got a virtual version.
Okay.
And then that was it. And then released my first single in 1992.
And here we are.
Here we are into 2020. That's like 18 years. No.
28.
Shit.
Well, you're still here. That's the most important. I kind of want to know something, though. Like, we're talking about a Tiny Orange, but I want to know where Solarstone comes from. That's probably one of the questions you get at every single interview, but I want to ask this.
Yeah. It's quite an interesting story. Me and Andy and Sam were in a band called the Space Kittens up to about 1990.
That sounds punk rock.
Yeah, it was like acid disco.
Oh.
1996 time, and we did this new track called The Calling, which was the first Solarstone single, and we sent it to Jerry at Hooge Tunes, and he said, you really need a new name for this. So we said okay, and then he called up a week later and said, have you got a new name yet? No, we still hadn't thought of one. Then he phoned back and he said, right, we're doing the artwork for the single now. You've got half an hour to come up with a new name, or I'm going to call you The Pleasure Tendency, which was some proper like communist thing.
Yeah.
We were like, oh God, we need to think of a name. So in the studio, we had this book of like pieces of art, ancient artworks and stuff that we've just happened to be, they're probably looking for song titles and stuff. And we decided to flick through the book and then somebody would shout stop, and whatever was on the page, that would be the name of the band. So we did that and shouted stop. And on the page was a picture of an Egyptian hieroglyph with a meteor coming to Earth, and it was called, the translation of it was the Solarstone.
Wow.
And so we took it.
So if you were one page further, you would have been called Little Red Riding Hood.
They have the burning sheep.
Or whatever. That's interesting. I didn't know about that.
And then when Solarstone became just me, I just made it one word. And that's where we are.
I didn't know that. Well, thanks for sharing that.
Cheers.
Well, that's it already. You survived it. You sang a little bit for us. We got to know each other a little bit better. Thank you so much for that.
Thanks, man.
Thank you so much for watching this 10 questions. And make sure to check out The Island. It's a beautiful album by Solarstone. I'll see you next time for a new 10 questions. Bye-bye.